Hello, everyone, and a big welcome to today's Trailblazer webinar, where we focus on a piece of research conducted by one of our member schools. We've got quite an interesting subject today, which will bring elements of change management, leadership, and sustainability in a post-COVID-19 era. In this particular case, which has been conducted by Universidad Nebrija in Spain, brings up the exceptional case of Werenbach watches that have shifted from using traditional approaches to reach their customer base, basically Switzerland and Germany, into transforming their strategy using internet-based marketing techniques and aggressive media coverage to reach the Americas and different countries in Europe during the pandemic. But not only that, the watches they produce are rocket debris that fall down to Earth after launch, which is incredibly interesting on its own. So with me today, I have Dr. Andrés Arenas and Dr. Jessica Bayon Perez, both from Universidad Nebrija, to present the research today. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I'll hand this now over to Dr. Arenas.
Thank you very much, David. I have to say that there is kind of a minor inconvenience on my side because I have had surgery a few weeks ago, and I'm making a real effort to be here with all of you to explain this case study that is amazing. For us as researchers, we realize that it combines all the things that David just mentioned. Patrick is actually the owner of this company, Werenbach, a fairly new Swiss watch maker that actually was looking for a different idea. He actually started, I'm sorry if I have to talk slowly, bear with me, please, due to my health circumstances. But I'm here with you, and I'm willing to explain what is this all about. So again, Patrick was looking for a very nice idea, an idea that can change the way people see Swiss watches, not just the regular manual automatic watch, but make something different. And he was first thinking of making it out of war airplanes, such as the F-16, and he was actually trying to get permits from the Swiss army, trying to get the scrap metal out of these airplanes, war airplanes, but he couldn't get it. Then he moved to the US, trying to get permits from the United States. Nothing. Then he was kind of frustrated, looking for something really different, something that makes innovation in terms of a product. So, watching a documentary about the launches of rockets from Russia, he realized that one of the parts, one of the components, one of the engines fell back to Earth in the desert of Kazakhstan. And he thought, well, maybe this is an idea. And this is how 8 years ago, three people, Andrea Dudmeyer, Marco Vanotti, and Patrick Hoffman, in 2013, founded the company Werenbach in Zurich, Switzerland. The idea was, yes, to produce watches from genuine rocket material. They made a marketing research, realizing that no one else was using those raw materials. Actually, the vision of Patrick was, and I quote, "I want to create watches that are more evocative, colorful and inspiring than the rest. So that's it. He started the journey. He went to Kazakhstan and he found a guy who actually had the rights to somehow um, use, utilize, sell, or do whatever they want for, I guess, 50 years or 100 years in that desert of all the rocket materials that fell back to Earth after the launching of the rocket. Definitely a unique idea. Negotiations back and forth. There's a lot of story about it. Actually, the University of Lübeck offers a very nice case study about the story. Somebody actually wrote a book about Patrick. You see there the image of one of these engines when they fell back to Earth, uh, almost destroyed, but with pieces that could be taken to actually manufacture a Swiss watch with a unique element. You don't have in your wrist just a watch. You have part of the space history, and that's something I, as a researcher, I compare Patrick with Steve Jobs. Why? And you may think, well, that's a huge comparison. Yes, but this guy that you see there, he is thinking on innovation constantly. And this is part of what entrepreneurs need to have. Break the rules. How can I make it better? How can I do it possible? How can I sell $500,000 in the middle of a pandemic such as COVID-19? I mean, this guy Patrick uh, decided to launch their products using. I mean, they had several collections using the same raw materials. One was using the shell of the rocket, so you can have kind of a watch with a piece of shell of the rocket depending of the area. If you check the web page, which is if you put it in Google, Werenbach, you'll find it very easy. You realize the different collections. So in the middle of COVID, everything was set. We're going to launch the new collection. How can we do it differently? How can we do it in a way that people that are at home, some of them probably losing their jobs or sick, how can we sell a product that is definitely unique with common characteristics of Swiss watches? For example, automatic, meaning it has no battery. uh, Nowadays, young people, young fellows, they don't know that there was and that there are watches that needs no battery. You just move your wrist, and that's it. That makes them move, and that makes them work as long as you keep moving. I mean, during the night, no problem. They will keep working. But if during the day you wear it and you have it, that's it. You don't need batteries. Curiously enough, in class, I have seen students that are surprised. They said, "Oh, really? It has no solar energy?" No, 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 no. It's just a movement. That's one of the key elements of any respectful Swiss watch that you can buy. It's one of their main characteristics, followed of course by all other watchmakers. So Considering that the shale, well, let me go back one step. After negotiations, after paying an extra price for the raw materials, um, Patrick had to wait for the product to be shipped from Kazakhstan to Switzerland. That took longer than expected. All the checks in terms of seeing if the product was radioactive, which of course has nothing and has no nothing related to radioactivity, but customs and all the different areas they have to go to get to from Kazakhstan to Switzerland need to check all these important aspects of this that it would be considered scrap. So besides making this rocket a very nice piece of art and a very nice piece of a Swiss watch, you also are contributing to the environment. You're taking this out, and I know that most of you are probably thinking, "Hey, but I have seen with the new rockets that they come back to Earth and return to Earth perfect." So this gives Werenbach watches uh, kind of a unique, uh, in terms of marketing, a unique product that maybe if the Russians develop the same technique as Elon Musk with the rockets that can return back to Earth, uh, so you can reuse the rockets, then the raw material that Patrick is using, it's gone. I don't know what is he going to do with his company in the future. Maybe get scrap out of other valuable items on Earth, maybe Titanic. I don't know. I mean, it's something that there are questions to be made for this company, for this entrepreneur, and I know he will find the answers. I have seen new companies. There is actually a company that is using the surface of all airplanes and they make it a key change. So people reinvent themselves in terms of presenting products that create uh, a satisfaction in their customers. Usually in marketing, we say uh, companies are actually trying to satisfy customer needs. But I want to say something different to this, and please make a note and talk about it in your classes in marketing. The company that can create a satisfaction with their product, this is much better than fulfilling my need. Let me give you an example. I go to a car dealer, I jump into a car, a Porsche, I drive it, and I have what a satisfaction. I need a Porsche. Just to give an example. You create a satisfaction, you create a need. Well, that's exactly what Patrick is doing. We are, and I'm including myself, we are a bunch of people, space enthusiasts. We like things about space. I have a bunch of things about NASA here in my studio. I mean, probably I'm a frustrated astronaut, but when I maybe one day I will purchase one of these watches, and when I wear it, I'm not only part of just, I'm not just buying just another Swiss watch. I'm buying part of a dream. I'm buying something that touch space one way or the other. And of course, I am part of a something that they call spaceborne, born in space. Very interesting concept. Now, they use a platform called Kickstarter. I guess most of you know already what crowdfunding is. Let me give a brief explanation of crowdfunding. These are third-party companies. So imagine that, let me see, the camera's here. So you are here and the buyers are here. So this is your company and these are the buyers. You have a unique product that you want to sell to these buyers, but you don't have proper finance by banks because they don't believe in your product. This is something that you see every day. People don't believe in your product, so you go to these web pages. In this case, they use Kickstarter to present your product. Hey, this is my product. I want to offer this innovation to people all over the world. Let's see if they like it or not. Well, guess what? In the middle of the pandemic, they were asking for 60,000 Swiss francs. They reached that goal in only 2 minutes. At the end of the campaign, they had reached $500,000. This is definitely a successful story. Of course, they have time to produce. They are now in the process of producing all those watches they sold during the pandemic. This was prior to December. I guess it was October. So in the middle of the pandemic, they were able to raise $500,000. I mean, this is a dream of any entrepreneur. And is this food? No. Is this something like a medical device? No. It's just a watch. Oh, but a watch with different characteristics. Since the surface of the rocket was almost completely used, they had the blocks of aluminum and they were thinking, what can we do with these huge blocks of aluminum? Well, they developed during the pandemic an injection molding process. So the whole block of your watch, not only the dial, no, the whole block of the watch is made out of the big block of aluminum that the rocket is made. uh, so how they did it? Well, of course, penetration in the social networks, LinkedIn accounts, Instagram accounts, um, interviews with journalists in different areas of the world, Argentina, Miami, and so other countries, to make people aware of this. Actually, they sent um, newsletters to people in China to make them aware of the product. One of the interesting things about Werenbach is that most people, they don't know it exists. I mean, I don't know how many of you already heard about the story. That'll be interesting to know. But most people every time I tell the story, most people are shocked and are surprised to say, "Hey, I don't know they were selling this," and why this is a subject of a research. Why we decided to go ahead with the book chapter from IGI, by the way, it's already available. Why we decided to make a research, a scientific research on this company? Well, because it combines, as David says at the beginning, it combines different factors. It combines innovation, it combines recycling, it combines crowdfunding, and it combines a definitely leadership during the COVID era. Of course, the title says post-COVID era. We we were preparing this webinar from last year, and well, call us optimistics, but we thought maybe this will be fine by February 2021. Maybe February 2021 would already be the post-COVID era. Well, it happens that that's not the truth. We are still facing this problem. As I mentioned at the beginning, I had major surgery for other reasons, not COVID. But yes, we are still in the middle of this. As I said, I now want Dr. Bayon to give her explanations about some numbers, interesting numbers about sales of Swiss watches and other interesting issues about this case study, and also um, the conclusions of our research that, as I said, it ended up as a book chapter by the publisher IGI. Of course, we'll be here for questions, comments, and if you think you want to tell us something, I will be here. Dr. Bayon, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Arenas, for introducing me and VGA for inviting me to this webinar. Well, a lot has been said about the dynamic capabilities of change in companies. Innovation and product change have come to save companies in unsettling emerging markets or complicated and adverse economic conditions. In this situation, it is important to focus on the history of change and especially the leadership, or leader in some cases, and the decisions taken. Like in most entrepreneurial decisions, the action taken can be reactive or proactive. Today, we analyze the successful case of and their ability to create a new product and change under adverse conditions, specifically the COVID-19 pandemic. In the case of entrepreneurs like Werenbach, the response to an external shock like COVID-19 crisis requires an initial evaluation to understand the current phase of crisis. Are we still in the in-crisis emergency response phase? Are we already recovering to a post-crisis situation? Or we preparing for future unexpected shocks? Entrepreneurial action must be situated in the entrepreneur's assessment of the opportunities and environment where they operate. Therefore, the issue for entrepreneurial action is not just whether a switch shift in the business model may be good enough, but it is more so to understand what this means for the organization inside and the environment looking outside, before, during, and after adjusting their plans or business model. The watch as a sustainable fashion brand. Most companies, particularly smaller ones, are now confronted with a highly competitive market and they need to get products renovated regularly. Sustainability is more and more elusive, but what is the case of watches? The Swiss watch industry saw exports exceed the already high level achieved in 2019, in the line with the forecast produced a year ago in a complex and a fast-changing environment. They were also faced with increased competition, both in the higher value segment and entry level, where volumes were particularly hard hit. Ultimately, Swiss watch exports were worth 21.7 billion Swiss francs in 2019, an increase 2.4% compared with 2018. Growth in the second half on the year was twice as strong as in the first 6 months of the year. However, the rate growth slowed in the fourth quarter as a result of a very poor performance in Hong Kong. Wristwatches set the tone for the 2019, representing almost 95% of total exports by value. Exports passed the 20 billion francs their whole, an increase 2.60 compared with 2018. I'm sorry. On the other hand, the number of 18 declined by 13.1%. The downward trend seen for many years got worse during the summer of 2018, and a market impact of every month 2019 without exceptions. Switzerland shipped 20.6 million watches to other countries, 3.1 million fewer than in the previous year. The historical low level is comparable to the volume exported during the dip in the early 1980s. Growth has been driven by precious metal and by metal watches. In volume terms, the main categories recorded double-digit declines. So what has Werenbach done to maximize its benefit from this situation? Let's see the following figures to understand that Werenbach is not using common materials. The change process. Organization must embrace many types of changes. One significant area of innovation is the introduction of new products and technologies. This is very important. In this case, the Space Watch is the new product introduced by Werenbach, and also a new technology. In the case of Werenbach, the change lies in several aspects of the change process: the innovation strategy adopted and the coordination model for innovation must both be analyzed to get a clearer view of the antecedents of change. Our first product innovation strategy plays an important role in shaping organizational priorities and supply chain wide actions. The strategic, tactical, and operational alignment of international action leads to innovative products, which are commonly characterized and being novel, viable, and frequently introduced. However, a managerial challenge organizations face is in developing supply chains capable of producing an innovative products and in effective, efficient, and consistent manner. The figure you are seeing shows us several innovation strategies for new products and technologies. The process of changing the company began with a simple steps. The stemming from leadership and decision and matching the above diagram step by step. It is evident that Patrick had overcome the challenge and barriers of COVID with innovative products involving exploration, comparison, and innovation. Well, in the following slide, we can see the personality characteristic of leaders. The innovation created by Patrick and Werenbach wasn't only founded in the innovative capabilities of Patrick, but also in his leadership skills. It is evident that several is not at all match Patrick's characteristic. At last, we wanted to present an innovative case study and analyze it by backing it up with theoretical underpin. The case of Werenbach watches fits very well with the guideline and theoretical background. The case is innovative, guided by a strong servant leadership, customer-based marketing, and a critical awareness of the obstacles of God. A first product innovation strategy plays an important role in shaping organizational priorities and supply chain-wide actions. The strategic, tactical, and operational alignment of international action leads to innovative products which are commonly characterized as being novel and viable. However, a managerial challenge is developing as a supply chain capable of producing innovative products in an effective, efficient, and consistent manner. According to sustainable competitiveness through innovation. Delivering differentiated products with unique benefits and compelling value proposition for the customer and user distinguishes new product winners from losers more often than only a single factor. Such superior products have 5 times the success rate, over 4 times the market share, and 4 times the probability of me too, copycat, reactive, and home products with few differentiated characteristics. Well, what do superior products have in common? Are superior to competing products that meet the user needs, offer unique features not available in other products, or solve a problem the customer with a competitive product. Fighter good value for money for the customer, reduce the customer total cost, and best excellent price performance characteristic. Thanks you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Bayon. Now, I would like to mention some important things related to the future and recommendations that, as researchers, we made to Werenbach. if you visit the webpage, you realize that there are only two languages, German and English. Our suggestion was to increase the languages to Spanish, maybe Italian, Chinese, which is a huge market, Arabic, French, why not? One of the advantages of Werenbach, as part of the recommendations for the futures that we made as researchers of entrepreneurs worldwide, is that, well, they have a very nice price range. You can buy a watch from as little as 200 and something euros, but as much as 6,000 euros, depending of the model you purchase. So they have to emphasize the uniqueness of their product. It is a unique piece. You cannot have two identical watches due to the raw materials they use. So we suggest to move a little bit the marketing strategy to the product uniqueness. Make emphasis also in the ecological spirit of the product, because it uses recycled materials. And of course, as I said before, they do not use batteries. Based on the fact that space rockets are moving into the area of recycling themselves by landing back to Earth and reuse the engines, try to start searching other raw materials, maybe satellites that had fallen into Earth, maybe other military rockets debris, or maybe an expedition to find debris under the sea. I mean, I mentioned it before. It may sound crazy, but I'm sure that if they get the permits to get, I don't know, maybe one piece of Titanic, that would really be an exclusive watch. Also create a women watch line, and also for for kids. We believe that they are focusing only into the men area and some space enthusiasts. Also, we told them, hey, maybe limit your production. This line will only have 1,000 or 2,000 units. That's it. And try to complement the collection with other accessories. For example, pens, key holders, a pocket knife, a tie holder. Why not? Things that are also made out of space rocket, but not only watches. It's kind of have a full line of products. Definitely, we made the suggestion, the recommendation to use also, well, they do it, buying directly from the web page and try to avoid the crowdfunding cost. These web platforms, such as Kickstarter, they have costs involved. So definitely try to see if there are other alternatives different to the ones they use. This, what you see, it's my email, Dr. Bayon email, both the university email and our personal email. If you want to get a hold of us, also we are in LinkedIn with our names. And at this point, we are open to questions, comments, any other aspects that you want to emphasize for this interesting webinar. Thank you, David, for the opportunity. Thank you, AMBA BGA, for the opportunity. and again, we, or at least myself, I apologize again for my limited capacity to express myself at a regular speed like I used to do.
No worries. Thank you so much, Andres. Thank you so much, Jessica. It's been a real pleasure to listen to both of you today. And as mentioned, now we have opened the floor up to the audience to ask their questions. If you want to do so, you can just type in your question in the chat box. Before we get to those questions, I have a few questions on my own that I will ask you guys. And the first one is, how do you plan to leverage this story in a business school setting and teaching this to your students?
I mean, one of the main ideas of having this type of case studies is to open the minds to the students. So, hey, you can open your minds. The word is not just a square box of things. Usually, business schools, we tend to show a business plan, a marketing plan, a solid idea with numbers, the financial numbers that you have to somehow put in black and white, but there are limited ability to dream. And that's something that we want to emphasize. Hey, yes, you can dream. If your idea, if your dream is enough to convince people during the pandemic to give you $500,000, hey, you have a very good idea, and you can actually try it without risking anything by using methods such as crowdfunding. When you use crowdfunding, you can test the market even before your product is in the stage of production. So this is the important area. Hey, you have a guide with a very nice idea, like you, maybe one of the students, they have a very nice idea. Test it. Put it put the idea nice and neat into a business plan, but then let's see what people says about it. If you reach your let's say your pledge in 2 minutes, you're successful. I mean, maybe not in 2 minutes like Werenbach, but maybe in a week, or maybe in 2 weeks. Maybe you reach your pledge and you have already your cost. Then you can move on to the production stage. That's why this case study is important, because it gives students the ability to dream and to test the product even without having the money to do it. Because one of the things we teach in business schools is how are you going to finance this? So we are still not seeing a lot of final thesis, including the experimental phase. Like, guess what? We're gonna get money not from my parents, not from my savings, not from the bank. We're gonna get it from people like you, because you will like my product and you will put money. Actually, I have to say that I'm happy to see some of my students going into this type of crowdfunding platform, putting their products, and I put money. I mean, I say, hey, I back you up as professor. Of course, if they don't reach their pledge, your credit card will not be charged, and you're on the safe side, so you don't lose money. You don't lose money as a customer. They don't lose time and effort as entrepreneurs.
And that's actually really interesting, because I think that also promotes the idea of focusing on product innovation enhancement to then go out to the crowdfunding. I mean, I think, and you can back me up, being a professor yourself, Andres, and Jessica as well, but with business schools, we tend to focus a lot on the financial aspects and on the numbers and the analysis, but there's very little focus on the actual product development and enhancements. And I think and I think this really demonstrates this really well, is that if you have the product, you can get the necessary funds if you focus on the product first. Is that something that you see in this case very strongly, and that you're also promoting in your classrooms?
Yes, why? Because you have a time frame. I mean, it's not, I mean, Werenbach, they are now producing that $500,000 they got last year. The delivery will be in April, May. So they have kind of a 5 to 6 month period for production. I mean, that gives you kind of a time frame to organize your company, to see how you're going to produce it, depending of the type of orders, because you have different models, model 1 or model 2, model 3. So definitely yes, we focus so much on ratios. Give me projections, 5 years cash flows, 5 years balance sheets, but we tend to forget the probably the most important part of the product, as you just say, that it's the definitely, what's the innovation, what's new with this. Is this product giving me something really different, or is more, or is just the same as other competitors? I mean, what is the real differentiation issue here? When you use, I mean, and of course, if you combine then recycling, if you combine then uh, something that we probably as kids, we all dream to be an astronaut. Some of us, I don't know, all of us, but at least some of us, we dreamt to be an astronaut and blah blah blah. And now this guy is selling me a watch that actually touched space. Wow. It's that's why I make a humble comparison and respectful comparison with Steve Jobs. Hey, he is allowing me to dream. And by buying a dream, I'm not just buying another watch. I'm buying part of a sense of something different. And yes, I actually I had a project with one of my students, um, creating a company that actually they're, they're they were ahead of their time. Why? Because they wanted to have a company that rented movies, um, that you can purchase it at home instead of going to the cinema. And I was shocked and surprised. I said, this is a wonderful idea. And they were ahead of time. There was no COVID yet. Now, big companies, they're doing it. So the big ones, they are now allowing you to see the movie that is now on the cinema, but you cannot go because you cannot actually be in bigger groups at the cinema. So you are able to buy it and see it at home. So see, innovation is there. People are willing to purchase good, new, and different things if they are presented in a way that people can get engaged.
Yeah, and I guess the takeaway is, as business schools, we should teach a little bit more on the product element and the innovation element, and not maybe so much focus on just the analysis and financial numbers and accounting. Those things exist as a byproduct of the product. So it's a really interesting stuff. Now, another question here then is, because this is one case study, this is one company. What are some suggestions on your end to get faculty or say other members of the business school engaged with companies like this? Because obviously we need more case studies, more engagement companies like this, perhaps ways for students to engage as well. So what are some of your suggestions here?
Well, actually, I that's why I put my email. We monitor entrepreneurs worldwide if we see something new, something different. And I guess this should be considered seriously by faculty members, by the deans, by professors, to show case studies like this in their classrooms so that students open their minds. And and as I said, I mean, I was surprised the other day with this company that sells, as I said, key change. I had mine. I don't know where it is. I bought it. It's a key change, kind of a uh, rectangle key change out of the shell of an old airplane. So for people that are air air enthusiasts, meaning everything related to the airline industry, um, pilots, or just people that like to have a piece of history. For example, one of the biggest 747 of British Airlines, they are giving it to this company to dismantle it and use the shells, and you can have a little piece of that story. So you're not just selling a key change, you're selling part of a story. I mean, an airplane that flew thousands of times and had no accidents. People just flew for fun, business, or other things. And now, one nice way of having this airplane say goodbye to Earth is keep your own piece for you. See, it's innovation. And if you lose it, you have a serial number. The company offers you to give you back if somebody returned it, of course. Your key change. I mean, again, a different idea, a different innovation. So monitor. My answer to your question is monitor entrepreneurs worldwide. See, um, get into this crowdfunding web pages, not only Kickstarter, other crowdfunding web pages. See what's going on with people. See if they're actually successful. I mean, and if you actually like the product, buy it. Why not? I mean, I could be named, if I found it, I could be named executive producer of a bunch of movies that people are trying to promote on these crowdfunding web pages. So, executive producer, I mean, I'm just giving them money, but that means that people that has money and they don't know where to invest, they may have opportunities there. So this is a two-way highway. It's good for people who actually don't have the sources of finance to make their product or their idea to make them come true, and also a way for investors and business angels to focus on something that may be worth their money and have exposure in terms of be known by uh, people in the entrepreneurs area.
Fantastic. And related to that actually is now with crowdfunding as being a option for students. Um, is this something that's going to be taught, you think, not perhaps only at your university, but other schools as well, to get students to say if they have a dream, as you mentioned, or an idea, and they don't have to be big. It can be small solutions. At the end of the day, products and services are small solutions to problems out there. So do you think the how to use the crowdfunding platform and how to market yourself via the crowdfunding platform and so forth, will that be, let's say, an integral part of some business programs?
Well, that's part of the changes that we need for new people, young fellows, and even new models for business schools to include as a valid form of financing a project the crowdfunding. We just now teach what crowdfunding is, maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs, maybe one class, 10 minutes, and that's it. We don't really, I think that most of the business schools, they don't take it yet as serious as we could take it, because this is a way that people are saying, we don't want the common regular product. We want something different, unique, and made just for me. I mean, people reinvent themselves. Let me. Well, there's no brand here, but you'll notice. Look at this. You know what chocolate is, this one? I received it as a birthday gift, but it was with my name, so I feel it more closer to me. Yes, yeah, I know this is an established company. Perfect. But why other companies cannot do it the same way? Maybe do something different with your name, David, with my name, Andres, with Jessica's name, Jessica, and make it happen. And how? We don't have money. Well, let's try it this way. So definitely, I think we need to take it more seriously and take it and engage more people in this, and actually make them try as part of an exercise during the academic year. Okay, you need to give me an idea and put it on this crowdfunding, one of the probably not the most important ones that may give you may involve cost, but do it. Let's try. Let's see what people are doing, because one of the mistakes, one of the most common mistakes made by entrepreneurs is to believe that their product is perfect. But when they expose themselves to the whole world, you start to receive a very valuable feedback that is priceless. People are starting to tell you things. Actually, Werenbach, during the crowdfunding campaign, received feedback about the, I don't know how they call it. It's a chemical product inside the dial that will make the dots light during the night. And they were asking what was the ingredient, the chemical ingredient he was using, because there was one that was more, let's say, powerful, and that will give you even better lights during the night. And that was a heads up for Patrick and their team. Wow, somebody's suggesting this. Let me find out. And they actually changed the chemical to a better one to make the watches, I don't know how to say it, to make them, to make the lights during the night more bright than usual.
That's lovely. And I think the whole aspect of feedback and listening to customers. I mean, I guess the products are never fully developed when they come out. There's always a lot of refinement, and through various updates and versions. I mean, if we all remember back to, say, the first iPhone, it wasn't a perfect product, and there was a lot of criticism on the iPhone. And today we all use, not the iPhone specifically, but touch screen phones. So again, this goes back to that you have to be open to criticism and listen. And I guess that's a psychology element that's very important to have in business education. Well, I think we're out of time today. So I want to say a big thank you to both you, Andres, and to Jessica. You both have been great today. I think this has been a very interesting case. So would love to have you guys on board in the future for something similar again. And to all of you out there, thank you for attending and submitting your questions. Really great to have you on board. As always, we run these Trailblazer webinars promoting research and cases from our various business school members. So just stay tuned, and you'll see what's coming up in the next few weeks or months. Thank you again, everyone, and have a good day. Take care.
Thank you, David.
Bye.